Welcome to an incomplete guide to personal growth. We invite you to take a breath and take a listen to our podcast that explores the wonder, humor, challenges, and sometimes those self-inflicted wounds on the journey of personal growth.
Our weekly podcast conversations include stories, resources, and tools that you can incorporate into your daily life. We're the mother-daughter duo of Sydney West
and Kelly Arundel. Hey, Sydney.
Hey, Mom.
You enjoying the fall day?
Yes. Oh my gosh. It took until November to get some
even
actual
a little bit
fall weather. Oh my gosh. So you remembered a funny story. Just thinking about how people perceive things differently kind of is how it came up. But
because we don't know what's going on at the other end of a phone or a call or even a text response. You don't know what the other, So it was your freshman year at college. And it had something to do with
I was upset.
piano, or something.
Yeah, I'm sure it did.
And that you had to perform or whatever. Yeah. Anyway, so you called me and it was in the morning, and you had no idea, but I was out on my morning run.
Yeah.
And I usually don't take the phone with me. That's a real taboo. I don't like.
Yeah,
to
you don't
take
like
the
to.
phone.
Yeah.
So for whatever reason, I was expecting a call from a doctor. I don't know, but yeah, I had it, and so I answered. And I was running, and it was up the hill. I still picture where I was. And I was running, and you all here on the other, Mom, and there were tears.
Yeah.
And so I was like, "What, Sydney?" And you said, you got so mad at me. You're laughing at me. I'm upset. And I was like, Sydney, I'm trying to breathe. I was running up a hill. So I must sound like I'm laughing when I can't breathe.
Yes.
But I'll never forget that, and it was like...
That is so funny.
Right? So sometimes we call somebody, we don't know
what's
that they just
on the other
spilled
end.
a pot of coffee.
Yeah.
But they respond anyway. And so and it's just like...
That
we
is
just
so
don't
funny.
know. And I think that is we're talking about holidays,
Yes.
we're talking about this season, and today we're focusing on grief.
Yes, yeah.
And we really don't know what people are grieving during the holidays. And so...
You don't know what people are going through at all. Really,
yeah. So we're going to talk about grief. And a reminder, we are so far from therapists, it's not funny.
Yeah.
There are therapists available. There are hotlines available. And we'll always post those.
Yes.
There's churches and other organizations, community organizations and support groups. And we'll talk some about that later. But... Just to mention, we're talking about grief today. In a broad sense.
Yes, in a broad sense, yeah. So whenever, I hear the word grief, I mean, my mind automatically goes to somebody died.
You're right.
That's just, I think, what almost every mind does. But grief can come from any significant loss. This is what I found out. Grief is really just the name for a process that you go through for loss. And so it could be, loss of an image. Maybe you had pictured, this year is going to look like this, but things out of your control happened and now it's not going to happen. Well, you can grieve the loss of what you imagined something was going to be about your expectations. Sometimes empty nesters, you don't know what that is yet.
They keep coming back.
But empty nesters, you grieve, or maybe your child joins another family or whatever, that's a loss for your holiday, a divorce, a job loss. There are other things that can be a loss that can contribute to grief and mean that you still need to go through a grieving process.
Right. And just grief is there year round. Holidays tend to heighten
everything.
Family issues or whatever else. It heightens grief as well.
Stress, anxiety, heightens everything.
You hear about the empty chair at the table, and everybody deals with that differently.
Yeah. And I feel like you've even said to me once that sometimes the second year is even harder.
It's harder than the first.
Yeah.
That's
if you still have a loss that's ongoing,
a loss that the second year, because it just really has sunk in. So it really isn't. It really is going to be like this.
Yeah. Yeah, more realization. Yeah. So I found this online too. The interesting thing with this grief and loss is like, especially on the holidays, there's so many sensory reminders, and our senses are amazing at maintaining memories, smells, sounds, taste, holding objects, wearing certain things, it's like songs, all that stuff. So it's a lot of things if you're grieving that you have to try and filter out,
Right.
To like not hurt, And so I just thought, like, to me, that really hits home, because it's like, I have certain music associated with holidays. I have certain things I like to watch associated with holidays, even Thanksgiving, Charlie Brown stuff. Certain foods associated with each holiday, certain smells associated with each holiday, certain rituals. It's like, so there's so many like sensory things that are going to be triggered.
Yeah. And again, each year will be different, right? And when you're grieving, and I think about that. I think about you're gathering with people, and maybe you just lost a job.
Yes.
And somebody else is celebrating that they just got a raise. Mm-hmm. That torn,
Yeah, you want to celebrate, but
celebrate, but and how many times does that happen within families, right? And trying to celebrate and hold both.
Yes,
can hold your sorrow, and hold the celebration as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
It's hard, but it is. And I guess the main thing is looking at loss, acknowledging loss.
Yeah.
And
acknowledging it. I think a lot of people want to sweep it away. Yeah.
Yeah, it is a death of a person, and naming that person again and again that you've lost, that's not there around your family.
Yeah.
It's telling stories. And the thing about grieving someone, whole family, each person is going to grieve differently.
Yes.
What comforts one may not comfort another.
Yeah.
And, being aware of that and allowing room for that to flow, the largeness of that. And one of the things that I was looking up, we did a little bit of research here.
Yes.
Some tips when you know somebody else who is grieving. This is not for our own. We'll get to that. But it's okay to say something about it. Mm-hmm. The phrases to avoid, which, to me, you think, of course, well, at least, da-da-da, or, well, it was for the best.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, really?
Really?
Even if a person...
Doesn't feel like it.
Yeah. You don't know.
Yeah.
And one of the things that is big for me is listening and just being present. There are no answers. Mm-mm. It's sitting and listening. Presence is so huge.
Yes. And I will say, you're very good at that. A lot of people comment on our ability to just sit there and just
sit
be.
And absorb it. I can absorb your pain, and then I'll release it outside.
Yep.
To the heavens, and but there's just being.
Yes.
Some people called it holding space.
I like that. Holding space is a really good, and it's a good image. And I think you don't have to say anything. You don't have to give advice. They probably don't really need it right now. And I mean, unless you truly have been through the same sort of loss, you don't understand.
No.
So don't say you understand.
Yeah. And each one is different anyway. And, And to be patient, because you never know when it rises back up.
Oh, it sneaks up
and
on
it is. You mentioned earlier, it's a process.
It is. It's a process.
So to be able to sit and just let it, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's so hard for me, because my tendency is to try and give advice, try and say something and have the right words or whatever.
Yeah.
And you just don't have to. That's like one thing I need to work, that I want to work on. It's just like, you don't have to say.
Yeah.
You don't have to say a thing. You just say, I'm here.
I have found through my own mistakes is if I prepare to say something ahead of time.
Yeah.
Thinking, okay, what will I say to this grieving parent?
Yeah.
Oh, and I have something in mind about peace or grace or blah, 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 which in an anger moment, that's not it, right?
Yeah.
And so, but just, it's usually been the wrong thing.
Yeah.
And it hasn't, and what I find is if there's something to say,
it'll come.
it will be so unplanned that I know they're not really my own words.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
They came from a deeper place that I wasn't
too.
ready for. And so, just it's the presence.
Yes.
Just,
presence.
yeah.
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 Yeah. And I think I don't always realize how unacknowledged like grief really can be. I think just because that's not the type of family I come from, it's like we don't, but like when it comes to maybe losing a job, maybe that was your dream one. Well, there's a dream that you got to go grieve. Yeah. But a lot of people don't acknowledge it, or people just say, oh, you'll get another. It's like, oh, you'll move on. It'll be okay. Yeah. It's like, okay, because but you need to sit with that person because they're
people
upset.
Don't want to sit with your discomfort.
Yes, it is, and it is uncomfortable. Grief is uncomfortable.
If they haven't dealt with their own, it's very difficult to sit with somebody else's.
Yes, or maybe there's an empty nester, and they really are sad that their child is not here to celebrate Christmas or things or whatever this year. Like, not to blow it off and be like, oh, well, they're having fun somewhere else. It's like, I don't want them to have fun somewhere else. I want them to be here.
It's that change of, and I remember when I got married, my mom was like, and she loved Paul.
Oh, yeah.
But she said, but there's some loss for us.
Yeah.
Because of holidays and other things. And I thought, I guess so. And I've been very aware of that. It was like, okay, so it's a loss, but if I dig deep enough, I do realize it's a real gain.
Yeah.
That they're enjoying something else and doing something, But, and some families may go, well, good, I'm not here this year. And another may be sorrow. So let
holding
people
both.
Be where they are.
Yeah, that's true. Because
right?
some people, will be okay.
Yeah. And
definitely. And then, okay, so we said as a phrase, a process, and it'll come to you in these waves and phases and stuff. Yeah. So some ways to cope. Let's say our listeners are the ones that are grieving something this year.
Yes. And I'm going to say this again. Everybody grieves so differently. And whatever we may say, you may go,
nope.
I don't think so. And somebody else may be going, oh, that just touched my heart. And because we're all so different.
Yes.
My, my dad, and after my mom died, he's like, he can't go to Christmas Eve services.
No, he can't do it. Mm-mm.
And that's okay.
Yeah, that's just how he
feels. And sometimes you skip it a year, sometimes you don't ever go back. Who knows?
Who knows, yeah.
But, you have to know and take care of yourself. Some people will decorate things using their favorite colors or using some of the ornaments. Yeah. Some may go, I can't see those ornaments this year.
Yeah. Get different ones.
Do something different.
Yeah.
I can't gather. Can we gather around a different table?
Yes.
For this year.
Yeah.
And maybe next year, some people will have the same meal for eternity because that is what they had when that person was with them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's okay too. It's just, you got to find what works for you.
Yes.
Tell stories about them. Have a memory.
Yeah.
That might bring laughter or tears, whatever. But, a story about them.
And I think like that part may sound scary to some people, but I think it's like if you just jump in and do it, you'll feel better about it. I know that's what
things can flow. Things can flow. Yes. Some people may light a candle in their memory.
And I think one of the things is you can try and plan ahead. Yeah, you don't know how grief's going to hit you, but you can try and plan ahead for some of this stuff. You guys did that whenever I started to not always be around for holidays. They planned and made a reservation at some restaurants for Thanksgiving and had fun. And so it's like, you can plan ahead and know, okay, maybe I won't be able to face the exact same scenario, the exact same place this year. What can I do different? Plan ahead, not to avoid the feelings, but to protect yourself.
And it's because I know the feelings are there.
Yeah.
So I'm not pretending that But
things can be different and it's okay.
Cooking is not the highlight of my life. So I was like, what could I do that would be different, that would also make this year different?
And maybe
Paul,
for
I
some-
think, suggested,
Oh, yeah, he
maybe
did.
it was my cooking after all.
Oh my
Paul
gosh.
suggested no, I'm just teasing. Go out to
Yes,
eat.
yeah.
If it's going to be different, let's do it.
And maybe
different.
for some people that like cooking, maybe you cook something the other person never wanted to eat.
Yes.
And you keep it all
Yes.
yourself.
Yeah, I can tell you,
Oh, yeah.
I have an aunt that did that.
Yes.
I can cook what I want now.
That is true. You do.
That was okay too, right?
Yes.
Um,
And then, yeah, I like sharing stories and like places where you can share those stories as different support groups if you need it. You know?
there's community support groups. There's a lot of grief groups that start up around this time, both in
Yes.
churches, in communities. Look at hospice. They have a lot of contacts for
Yes,
grief
for
groups
those types of
and can
groups.
suggest where you would find that. So
Yes.
it's doesn't have to be religious if that's not where you're at.
Yeah.
There's therapists we always recommend.
Yeah.
You just got to see what you need.
And I think another thing, I mean, you can go and volunteer somewhere, get out of the house that way.
Yeah.
This wasn't even a conversation I was like in, but it's one that I heard at church one time. And it was someone who was divorced, and then she was talking to somebody else who was just going through it. She was like, you know what I do every year that I don't have the kids for Thanksgiving or Christmas, whichever one it is? She goes and she volunteers and feeds other people. And then that way she's at least feeling good about something.
They say take the focus off of you. I think that's a fantastic
and that was the suggestion
thing.
that she gave, Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's a loss too, for sure.
Yeah, and there's people out in the community in need.
Yes.
And go do that, and you're with other people. So
Yeah,
you're
that's
not
true.
isolating yourself
Yes.
as well. That was really
Definitely. You're not
smart
just
for
sitting
her.
in your grief. You're out. Yeah.
Yeah,
trying to do
yeah,
something.
because you're with other people, at least for that time. And then you can
Yes.
move from there, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Just taking it one day at a time.
Yeah. I think taking extra time and knowing it's a year that you need that. Because we had our episode on self-care, so you can always go to that and listen about ways to care for yourself. And part of that is, maybe, and we kind of talked a little about this, about changing things, but maybe you don't do every single holiday party that you did before,
Right.
maybe you don't do every event, you don't volunteer,
And you think about what feels right for me.
Yeah.
And sometimes what feels right is also pushing yourself a little bit out of your comfort zone, going and volunteering.
Yeah.
Maybe I'd rather stay in my bed.
Yeah.
Well, what will you do the rest of the day? I want to mope. Well, is that what's best for you? Mm-hmm. Could you mope now and get out later? Can you, is there somebody you can call?
Yeah.
To go, I'm alone.
I'm alone. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know. If somebody called me and said that, I'd have them
I'd
over.
be there.
Well, I'd take them out to eat anyway.
I'd take them.
I would have them over, do whatever. It's
Yes.
just,
Yes.
and that's the other part is reaching out to those people that we know.
Yes. Or
To say-
that are going through something.
I would like, not asking.
No.
If you need something, let me know. But saying, I'd like to have you for dinner. Or I'd like to bring your family dinner. What day?
Yes.
Making it a real this time now.
Specific. And yeah, I think offering that type of help, because whenever people say, if there's anything I can do, let me know. It's like, what?
I can't
I
call.
cannot make that decision in the moment. I'm not going to think to call you. I'm not, there's just so many other steps before I
Yeah.
think, oh yeah, this one person this one time said to let them know. No. Be specific. I want to do this for you. How can I make that happen?
Yeah.
Or I want, maybe you
I'm
say,
sending my house cleaner
maybe you
if
say-
you have
yes,
one,
I'm
over
sending a
to your
house cleaner
house
to you.
next week or the week after. Tell me what day.
yes. Or it's I'm doing a spa day and you're coming with me. Let's go do this and what works for you. And then it's I like that I'm bringing dinner. I want to make you dinner. Which night this week is best? That sort of specificity.
Yeah, because people can't make decisions
No.
in their grief.
No.
It's just too hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. So, and just being aware. Just being aware. We don't know. Oh, the other thing I was going to mention, ADD brain. A lot of churches have things, and they're called different things, but they're called some a blue service
or night of silence. Is that
longest night?
Longest night,
because
that's
it's
it.
usually around the
solstice.
And
Yes.
it's a time. It's a service set apart for those who are grieving.
Yeah.
Any grief.
Any grief. Yeah.
No matter how old, no matter how raw it is. And
I've been to one of those. It's so good.
it is a wonderful place because most services around Christmas, everybody's got their colorful sweaters on
so
or whatever
happy.
else, and the music is up, and everybody's expecting you to be smiling. And this is a service where you can go and cry.
Yes.
And just be, if you cry,
If you-
whatever.
yeah.
But it's a comfort. It's a service of comfort and recognition that
It's not.
there's grief during the holidays.
Yeah.
And so you might seek those out. You can usually find one.
Oh, yeah. Several churches.
I
do
know
it.
United Methodist
yeah.
churches
Tend
had
to
a
do
lot
it.
of them. And so whatever branches there are now and whatever else is out there, they often have those if you look.
They're really good. Yeah.
And it's a time that you do. It's just an acknowledgement of there is pain and suffering, and we're here with
Yes.
you. And it's a wonderful place that you don't have to put on a smile. You don't have to pretend things are okay and with you or with your family or anybody else.
Yeah.
And just be.
And I want to, okay, not that going to those services moping, but I want to touch on what you said earlier about, whenever it's like, oh, what are you going to do? You're going to mope around the whole day or are you going to do, and I like that because there's a time, and I think that service can be part of it. And there's a time where you can be sad, be all in your feelings. But if that's all it is all the time, that in itself is draining.
As my sister-in-law, who, lost her son, Justin, she told me how difficult it is to choose joy.
Yeah.
But you do have choices. And I am the biggest proponent of, okay, such and such just happened. I'm giving myself this day.
Yes.
This 2 days.
You are. You do that.
I'm going to sit.
Not a lot, but you do it. Yeah.
And be with me and be with the sadness. Acknowledge that. And then I'm going to get and do one thing.
Yes.
And then I'm going to do another thing.
Step by step.
Then step by step.
Yes.
And, you do. It's choosing joy.
Yep.
Even though that's a word that we think is, hey, it's different
it's different
than happy. Joy
yeah.
comes from a deeper place, and I'm going to find it somewhere. I'm going to find grace somewhere today. Whether it be, I'm going to let somebody cut in front of me in the line, or merge in front of me in the highway. Whatever, you know what? That's a small thing.
That is a small thing. Yeah, but it counts.
Yeah. So, there's this difference of, and the service isn't really a moping, it's this acknowledgement.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think that's what's
I
important.
like that.
Is it's an acknowledgement that this isn't just all happy. And,
there's
other
sadness.
things.
There can be sadness in there.
Yeah, and we can hold them both.
Yes. Again, hold both. Yeah. And so I like that. Yeah, I like that distinction of, you can hold space and you can feel and you can be emotional. But at some point, are you just moping in your feelings because you think that's easier?
Yes.
Or,
sometimes,
can you go do something?
It does feel easier.
Sometimes it does.
But for myself, and this isn't, everybody does different, but for myself, if I mope too long, that the hole gets deeper.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
And it's harder for me to climb out.
It's harder to get out.
And there's depression, there's seasonal depression, and I mean seasons of life depression.
Yes.
I'm not talking weather because that's a whole nother
That's all
thing.
I think.
But there is, and that's okay.
It is, yeah.
But it's a good thing to be able to say, you know what, this is what it is. I am depressed. And by golly, I should be.
Yeah.
I just lost a job. I just lost a whatever, loved one, whatever we have, whatever we are grieving.
Yeah.
And that's okay to go, I'm feeling that. And what can I do?
Yeah.
I can take a walk today. That will be my thing.
Yes. And that's enough.
Yeah. So
Definitely. I definitely encourage, if you know somebody that you feel like is maybe grieving something this season, like just reach out to them. It's so hard to,
concrete
when
thing.
you're going through it, to like, oh, well, I don't want to bother.
I don't know what to say. I don't know. You know what?
I
But
don't
if you were,
bother,
if it was on the other end, you'd welcome it.
Yes.
You wouldn't go, shut up, leave me alone, or hang up the phone. You know, I mean,
you shouldn't.
Or you shouldn't. Yeah. I don't know. I don't do shoulds, but anyway, that type of thing is appreciated.
Yes, definitely good to reach out. So
yeah.
Yes. So if you're grieving this season, we're here with you.
Yes.
Yep.
There are, and
yep,
it's hard.
And you can hold both.
Yes, you can find little joys.
Yes.
I'm not talking about huge.
Oh,
I do have.
Yes, you have a great poem.
And this, I just have to tell the story. This poem is okay. So the first time I heard it was on The Outsiders, the movie.
Oh yeah.
And I love little Tony Boy, and right.
So good.
Anyway, it was a great movie. But
Yes.
I heard this, and also somewhere Stevie Wonder sings a song.
Oh yeah.
That has this in it. These lines, but. It's by Robert Frost.
I know, right?
It's called Nothing Gold Can Stay. Nature's first green is gold, her hardest hue to hold. Her early leaf's a flower, but only so an hour. Then leaf subsides to leaf, so Eden sank to grief. So dawn goes down to day, nothing gold can stay. And I love that.
Mm-hmm.
It's so in that it is so true.
Yeah.
And so this moment,
yeah,
there's joy. 5 minutes from now, there may not be.
Yeah.
And then it will come again because this new leaf comes. One drops, and then another comes. And this is just, it's life.
It's life, yeah.
And we want to hold on.
So bad, yeah.
But
you can't.
You can't.
Yeah.
You can't.
Yeah. You just have to know something else is coming.
I think the name of that song is Stay Gold.
Okay.
But anyway, I'll have
look
to look that up and I'll link it. But but it's just, I like that because, it's just, it is. You want to hold on.
Yep. But you have to look.
And nothing does. So we enjoy this moment because we don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Yes. So continue. Yeah, with our theme of holidays, families, all that stuff. So definitely be listening this month.
Got some humor coming up.
Yes, we will.
We have
talk
a lighter
about
topic about traditions.
Holiday traditions. We've pulled some of our friends and family, so I'll have kind of a whole plethora of stuff to talk about. It'll be fun.
About,
yes,
and some that we're like, why did we do that?
Yeah. But yes, and so not all this month, but we've definitely, we've got some good episodes for sure to listen to as you prepare for your holiday season.
The holiday season,
it sneaks up on us.
It does. Somebody asked me today if I'd done my started Christmas
shopping.
Oh, no,
I haven't done anything yet.
No.
Oh my gosh. But yes, if you have any thoughts on our episodes, you can always come on our Instagram. You can always send us an email. Check out our website at incompleteguide.com. All of that good stuff.
Yes. So we look forward to next Tuesday when we take a breath and take a listen.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of An Incomplete Guide to Personal Growth. There are many ways you can stay connected. Follow us on Instagram at An Incomplete Guide Podcast, where you can sign up for our email list and get posts that delve deeper into our weekly topics. Make sure to subscribe to our podcast page wherever you listen to your podcasts. We would really appreciate a rating and sharing us with your family and friends.
We're so glad you chose to spend your time with us and hope there was a thought, a resource, or a laugh that you can take on your journey. We'll be here every Tuesday for you to take a breath and take a listen.